Well, good morning, everyone, and how are you doing today? Fernando, how's it going?
Oh, it's awesome.
Always awesome with Fernando. Strange. I don't understand that. Anyways, today we have an Acura TL. This is an 05. This is a real popular car, believe it or not. It's pretty popular, wouldn't you say?
Okay. Really?
Yeah, a lot of people still drive these. Okay, he's killing it for me. It's popular enough that Metro decided to finally make a dash kit for one of these. Up until now, we've been buying them weird. Anyways, they make a dash kit for this now, which is cool, which means we can replace the radio in it if it doesn't have. Well, let me show you the dash. So if your Acura TL has this screen up here where it's just big display for the radio and air conditioning controls right here, you're in luck. You can go ahead and replace the radio. This is the radio here. Now if you have the navigation screen, you are going to lose the navigation talk feature, meaning it'll still navy and whatnot for whatever reason you'd want 14-year-old navigation, but it's not going to talk through the new radio. As long as you keep it powered up though, the air conditioning and stuff will display on there, so that's cool. So the plan today is to he's getting everything new. We're tearing everything out. We're not gonna keep the factory stereo. The 14-year-old speakers are going bye-bye. So it's a total rework. Let's see what we're putting in it. So Fernando has conveniently stacked all the new equipment in this nice little monolith here. We have an SW10D4. We have some S-Type 6x9s, S-Type 6.5 components. We have the Kenwood X8105 5-channel amplifier. Apparently he's getting a grill. We have a Stinger Select 4-gauge power kit. He's retaining the steering wheel controls with the SWIRC. And on top of it all is going to be an AVH 2400 NEX because he wants to do CarPlay and they still play CDs. Now what's going to make this all happen in the dash is this guy right here. It is a Metra 958715B. So of course we're going to need a wiring harness or two. I believe in this one we may need two because we have to hack one up to make a complete one so we can do steering wheel control interfaces. We'll get to that once we get to that. Right, Fernando?
Correct.
Now the plan is to go through it, figure out what can stay, what can go, what's broken, what's not broken. We got to get the seat covers on, the steering wheel covers on, the gear shifter cover on, and work our way through the car, come up with a plan of attack where we're going to put the amplifier. I've already popped the driver's tweeter out just because I wanted to see how difficult it was going to be to get it out because Spider-Man has been in this dash. It has seen better days. Luckily, all you need is a right angle pick tool and this will pop right out. And this is it right here. It has this little tiny tweeter in it. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of strategy for this because our tweeter is substantially bigger than this tweeter, even stripped down. And I don't really want to use just that little space if I can avoid it. I don't know, we'll get the Alpine tweeter out, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. You ready to get going? Alright, let's get to it. So inside the box for the dash kit is going to be the instructions for removing the dash. Metro does an exceptional job of printing off great how-tos as far as removing their dashes. Now you don't actually have to buy the dash kit in order to find this information. They do have it all on their website. So if you just need to know how to get your dash apart, metroonline.com could be a good place to start. What we want to do first though is flip up the armrest so we can get these silver trims off. Then we just need some vinyl removal tools and we can just get in there and start lifting these off. Now these things are made out of aluminum, so try not to pull on them because they do bend. Just let the panel tool do the job. Now if they do bend a little bit, like up in this area, just all you have to do is gently kind of just give it a little nudging and they'll typically go back straight. Now inside the center console there are two Phillips screws back down inside of here. Just flip the lid up and they're in there. Go ahead and pull those two out. Now we're also going to have to drop the sub dash here underneath the steering column. For that there is a screw slash push pin over here in the corner that you have to remove. Now we need to remove the sides of the dash here. We also need to drop the glove box and remove the side on this side as well. Once you've removed all these screws, go ahead and lift up the armrest and just slide it back so you have a gap here. You don't have to pull it out, you just have to slide it back. Once you've slidden that back, you can go ahead and remove this panel. There's clips. Work your way around. Now on the side of the glove box here, there's the cushion release. Just push it forward and it'll unclip. And then of course get all the crap out of the glove box because it's all gonna fall on the floor. Be careful when you're digging through glove boxes. People love to put all kinds of sharp crap in glove boxes. Top two corners here, just push them in, it'll come down. You'll find 2 more screws behind it. And there's 2 push pins across the top. You push in the centers, and then the whole thing should pop out with a little bit of effort. These guys here, and then what you do is you just push them back so that the nipple sticks out like that, and you can put it back into place. Now remove the screws holding the side panel in place. Now we can move on to this area here, the little coin tray. The silver trim around this has to pop off. Just go ahead and lift up on it, and then the whole thing will come off. And go ahead and take your key and push in the shift lock release, slide this back, pull your harness brake up. We need to get the wood grain off too. Typically the wood grain is going to be stuck. You really only need to get it loose in the front. Just kind of work your way into it. There's 4 clips. While you're in there, you can also go ahead and unplug the seat heaters. Get those out of the way. All right, if all else fails, just pull out, lift up, leave the wood grain attached. There's no use breaking it. You can get it out without it. Reach behind and unplug the cigarette lighter, and then this whole piece should come out. If you did want to try to get this off, there's these clips here in the corners that you can push. However, you might break them. It's not worth it if you don't have to. Next, we have to remove this air vent assembly here, and of course remove the rest of the screws holding this in place. This is all one big piece. Two screws in the top. Now just go ahead and pull the radio out and unplug everything. Now what we want to do is we're going to grab our wiring harness, which is the BHA 1721. We're also going to grab our tone generator. What we want to do is find out if this in fact has the premium sound system, meaning there's an amplifier on all the speakers. Sometimes the radio powers the speakers and there's an amp just for the sub. Grab our whites, which are our fronts. So we're running a tone through them. We're getting no sound. That's telling us that there is an amplifier in here somewhere that is going to power all the speakers, not just the subwoofers. So we're not going to be using any of these speaker wires behind the radio, which means if we are going to need to move any pins, we can use the speaker wires as the pins for, let's say, steering wheel controls and stuff like that. So now we have to go ahead and find the amplifier. Where could it be hidden? Now in Hondas, there's typically 3 places they like to put them. And I know I said Honda and this is an Acura, let's be honest, same thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at those 3 places. First place is going to be here in the rear of the car. The reason why this is a common place is because they like to hide the Sirius XM, the antenna, the tuner, and all that other fun stuff usually back here. And in this case, they have a tuner module located right there. That's that silver box. The next place they like to put it is with the radio. So sometimes over here, like in a Civic, it can be located right next to the radio. Sometimes it's located down here up underneath the air box, but in this general area here. And then the third place they like to put it, which is where ours is located here in the passenger kick panel. So if you look real close, that silver thing there behind the white plug, that's the amplifier. That's it right there. Now it's got a couple 10mm bolts holding it in place. Let's go ahead and get those out. Now there's 3 plugs here that we unplug. This white one here is actually gonna go back to the back of the car, so we wanna just go ahead and plug that back in. But these 2, this big gray and this little black, these are our amplifier plugs. Now right off the bat, just looking at this, I can tell I'm not gonna have a T-harness to plug into this. I don't have anything that's close to this. Just by looking at the 2, I'm thinking this gray plug is gonna be our output because the wires are substantially thicker in the gray plug than they are in the black plug. So my guess is the black plug is the signal coming from the radio. If I grab the radio harness and look at some of the wires on there, I can see them in this. Let's grab our tone generator and go ahead and make sure that these are in fact the speaker wires. So this is definitely the speaker wire harness. Go ahead and remove some of the tape off of here. So what we have for speaker wires is we have the 4 main, which is going to be driver's front, passenger front, driver's rear, passenger rear. The tweeters in this are running in parallel off of the door speakers, so it's not broken out into 4 wires, it's just 2. We have the subwoofer wire located here, as well as the center channel wires located here. Now on the harness itself, if you're looking at it and you have the 2 big power wire, power and ground at the bottom, and the main clip at the top, on the left side is going to start with your speakers for the door. So you're basically gonna go passenger, driver, and that's gonna be 4. So basically, if you're looking at this and you use our count system, it's gonna go 2, 1, 3, 4. 1 is driver's front, 2 is passenger front. You can figure it out from there. And then the next, these 4 guys over here are your center channel and subwoofer wires. Now that we have some of the mystery solved, meaning where's the amplifier, speaker wires, is it gonna be 2 sets of speaker wires, there's just 1 set of speaker wires for the front, we know what harness we need for the radio, so we're knocking through the pre-installation install checklist. This is part of every install when you do it, is the checklist of things. You don't just wanna go blazing into a car to start ripping things apart without knowing what you're getting into. So now that we have those checked off, the next thing we want to check off is the steering wheel controls. For that, let's grab the SWRC box and go through some paperwork. So inside the box, you're gonna find all this paper. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you wanna avoid all this, do yourself a favor, spend a little bit more money, get the SWI CP2. That's done with a smartphone app on your phone. All you have to do is launch this cool Control Pro app, pick the CP2, tell it what kind of car you have it set to, tell it the manufacturer of the radio you're using. It's gonna give you some cool dip switches to set on the side of the unit that pre-programs it for all the features that the steering wheel has. And then it's gonna give you a breakout as far as your wiring goes. And that's it. Way easier than going through this. Paul doesn't love us that much, so we're gonna go ahead and do it the hard way. So the first one we want to find is this guy right here, which is the VIG. This is VIG 1, and we want to go to Acura TL 04 to 08. Now each one of these dots I've just put on the paper corresponds to another piece of paper. But what this is telling us is that we don't need a CAN interface. We are going to not cut any of the loops. We're going to use the white wire in the harness here and only the white wire. The plug we have is the Honda 20. That corresponds to this guy right here, which has pictures of all kinds of plugs on it. Now we want to come over here and find the Honda 20, which is that guy right there. And according to this, we are going to have pin 3 and pin 11, which is green, red, and brown are going to be the wires we're looking for. We're going to program this thing to version 3. We'll just write a 3 on the back of that. And it's note 215. 3 and 11, green, red, brown. Turn to note 215, mark it. Connect interfaces white wire to pin 3. So this is going to be the white wire, normally green red. If there is a wire, normally brown, in pin 11, ground it. So what this is telling us on this harness, if there's a pin 3 with a green red, it needs to go to white, and if there's a brown in pin 11, it needs to go to black. Now this is where this becomes helpful. Even if you're doing the RC, referencing where these are supposed to be, this gives you the same information. So we'll come over here, and pin 11 is going to be this bottom corner wire right here. But what we want to know is, where is 10? 10 is the yellow wire on the harness. That way we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. Yellow is 10, so if we take our harness and we put it like this, and we look at that 10, that means that underneath this blue wire here in the corner should be a brown wire, and then pin 3 should be next to the red wire on the harness here. So we can go ahead and plug this into the car and see if there's wires there. Underneath where the blue is, there's definitely a brown wire, and next to the red wire in that open hole, there's definitely a green red wire. So we know we need to move 2 of these over to these 2 holes here and connect them up. So we pulled out the purples. We'll go ahead and pin those into our new location. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the white so that it matches. So we have our new ground pin in for the steering wheel. We have our new white wire in for the steering wheel. We'll go ahead and remove all these other pins too.